Alright guys, so not only are you going to learn how to skate backwards today, but I guess today is National Weed Whacking Wednesday. We got freaking weed whackers all over this park. One over there. One over there. And one over there. So bear with me, I really wanted to get this video done. It is 9 a.m. and apparently that is not the time to come here and try and film a video. The obstacles, the struggle. Let's push past that. Alright, so having a strong foundation in skating backwards is very important. If you haven't already, check out my How to Rollerblade Backwards video. That will teach you all of the foundations and everything you need to know when it comes to skating backwards. After you've watched that, you're now ready to perhaps take it to the skate park. In order to skate transitions, quarters, and skate parks in general fakie or backwards, you really have to have a balanced, staggered stance. Being able to get into the skating backwards position, hold and pump through the park. Okay, so as you first begin to approach this, I want you to think about what it would require for you to go up, across, and then down. It's going to require you to adjust your body to some degree. Your point of balance as you're going up needs to be pushed up, and then as you're reaching the transition top, you're going to level out, and then you're going to lean back to drop back in on the other side of the bank. Before you start taking it to quarter pipes and whatnot, you should really have this mastered. So spend the time that it takes for you to get into the fakie position and roll across a reasonably sized bank. You don't have to perform any airs or any jumps or anything like that. What we're really working on is just the foundation of rolling backwards from one bank to another and transitioning your body weight and your balance points as you go through. Remember to use your hands and your knees to keep yourself centered. You know, you're going to be looking over and keeping this buoyant and ready to absorb the transition, pump through the transition, and get to the other side. After you have done that, you can then take it to the next level, which would be a higher or a longer fakie drop in on a bank. Okay, so there's going to be two different ways of approaching this. You can either roll up backwards and drop in, or you can switch right before the drop in. So as you're approaching, you go fakie into the transition rather than you're already fakie and you're going to drop the transition. Let's go ahead and do both. So after you've done that, you're now ready to take it to other steeper banks. What this is going to do is teach you how to adjust your body weight to different angles. The more angles that you're practicing, the more you're going to be experienced in dropping in fakie. So let's go ahead and take this one. This one's a little steeper. Now when it comes to turning fakie into the transition, it requires a little bit of an understanding on how to twist into that. For me, I'm going to go right shoulder back. So as I'm approaching, I know I'm going to pivot on my left foot to drop this backwards. So I'm going to absorb and I'm going to pick up my back foot and then just drop in. After you have practiced working on just transitions and banks and such, and you feel confident, go ahead and grab a helmet, some elbow pads, and some wrist brace, and get ready to drop in on steeper surfaces. So when you're skating bowls or quarter pipe transitions, I personally find it better to turn into the drop in rather than skating up and dropping in backwards. There's just like this weird transition point when you do it that way, and it doesn't look as clean. To me, it looks really clean when you're skating forwards up to a quarter pipe and then you switch and drop in fakie. It's better to just skate up to it forward, knowing which foot you're going to place in, switching, and then dropping into it, or switching into the drop. So because I'm dropping in with my right leg back, I'm going to go left, right, left, and absorb that transition dropping in. Make sure you have the same balance points as you do when you're working on the banks. It's pretty much the same. Avoid leaning too far forward, because if you fall forward or lean too far forward, you're gonna get up on your front two wheels or front wheel and create an imbalance and fall forward. Avoid leaning too far back. Obviously, you're gonna buckle back, hit your elbows and your wrist, and possibly hit your head. So make sure if you're just learning how to do this to wear protective gear. All right, so let's go to the, I guess in this park, the biggest quarter pipe is this guy here. Before we get into that quarter pipe, we're gonna take it to a mid transition, something that's not quite as tall as this. So the same thing here, have that confidence. You're just gonna switch as you drop in. So if I was getting ready to drop in and say do a 0 spin grind on this box, I can run up and drop. It might help to have a little shuffle as you're stepping into the drop. So as I'm doing it, I'm crossing my feet up and I'm getting ready to drop in. So shuffling up, jump. Now maybe as you're watching this, you're thinking, look, I can drop the banks, but I don't know about those quarter pipes and bowls. That's okay. There's still room for you to grow, so embrace that and look at it in a different way. Instead of dropping in fakie, you can also practice what it would be like by just rolling up and then rolling back in fakie like this. That's something I personally practice before I just go and throw my body at a quarter pipe that is unknown, is I'll just go and roll up and down the transition a few times. Every quarter pipe, every bowl, they're all poured differently, they're all made differently. So taking what you know to an unknown quarter pipe may work out, but ultimately it'll probably end up leading to a fall because the transition was just a little different. So get associated with it before you take on the big drop. This is something personally you can do at your skate park when it's empty. You know, if you're learning, practice good etiquette and maybe show up first thing in the morning when all the weed whackers are going off and there's not really that many people in the park. That's something that will help you if you're somebody who feels nervous being around others while learning. You know, if you're experienced, by all means show up at whatever time you want. But if you're learning, try and pick some hours when it's not as busy, so that way you don't feel any heat for taking the time or anything like that to learn these processes. After you've done that, you can apply this method to every part of your park. Incrementally check off, hey, I've done that bank over there, I've done this transition over there, I've boosted this quarter pipe fakie, and you begin to get more and more associated with your personal park that you practice at. What that does is it teaches you all the different ways of skating fakie. You build experience, and as you've mastered your personal park, then you can go to another park and practice in the same way. So now that we've checked off all of the banks and quarter pipes here, we're ready to do the last big guy, which is this one here. Same thing, you're gonna just skate with that confidence. Make sure what side you're turning in is on your dominant side. For example, I would not turn to my left if the quarter pipe's on my right, because my right foot's going back, so make sure you do that. If you're somebody that drops left shoulder back, approach the obstacle with your left back, so when you drop, your left dominant foot is on that leading side. So there we have it, how to skate fakie in your skate park. Remember, when you're learning how to skate fakie, throw on a helmet because you're more prone to buckling back and falling and hitting your head. Not a fun experience. Make sure you're wearing your pads and whatnot so you're practicing safely. So just have a strong foundation in rollerblading backwards before you start practicing in the park. Again, if you are just learning, show up early. I showed up early and there's like 15 kids here. Guess what they're all doing? Learning. Remember to keep your legs staggered and your head over your feet. Have your arms out for that balance. Have fun. Thanks again for all of the love and support. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up if it teaches you how to rollerblade backwards in your skate park. Hit the subscribe button if you are into or wanting to learn how to skate, whether that's aggressive inline or fitness. We got it all covered here at Acosta Blades. Thanks again, much love, aloha.